basketball are taking the drive to Atlantic City, New Jersey to compete in the MAC tournament.
Women's hockey is set up to play in the first round of the NCAA playoffs against Syracuse, while the men's hockey team is nominated for a few season awards.
And spring sports continue to get underway with lacrosse and baseball. All this and more as Sports Paws starts right now.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Paws. It's also our last edition of Sports Paws in front of this blue wall behind us. It's also Emily's first Sports Paws appearance, so are you excited?
I'm very excited and I can't wait to get started. So how about we do get started with some women's ice hockey?
Let's kick things off with Quinnipiac women's hockey versus Colgate in the ECAC hockey semifinals. Quinnipiac and Colgate meeting again in a rematch of the 2021 ECAC semifinals. We've got the team lined up here ready to go as we head into the first period. It's a scoreless game to start, but Olivia Conningson racing down the ice, trying to get the Bobcats an early 1-0 lead, but it's denied. Hannah Murphy says, no way. Into the second period here on the power play, Quinnipiac Sadie Peart goes for the shot right past the Colgate goaltender to bring the Bobcats up 1-0. In the end of the second period here, Ellery McKay says, I'm going to take that one goal advantage right back. Tie it up 2-2 as they head into the third period here. And Frederique Node skating down the ice, attempting to score, but she'll pass it to Olivia Mobley for the score instead. Bobcats up 2-1 in the middle of the third period here. We'll see a goal from Kalti Kaltinikova from Colgate to tie up the game 2-2. The end of the third period, Colgate's Allie Simpson calls game as she'll take a nice pass down the ice here. Goes for the shot, the score, and Colgate will win it. Colgate will advance to the ECAC championship for the second consecutive season with the 3-2 win over Quinnipiac. After a tough loss to Colgate and being knocked out of the ECAC championship, the women's hockey team will look to take on Syracuse in the battle for the NCAA title on Thursday. Let's take a look at the NCAA hockey bracket. After the tough loss to Colgate, the Bobcats will take on Syracuse in the first round of the NCAA tournament on Thursday at Ohio State. Syracuse won the College Hockey America Championships a few weeks ago, while Quinnipiac dropped the ECAC championships after the loss to Colgate. The winner of this matchup will move on to play the number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes, and we'll see another Yale-Colgate matchup after Colgate beat Yale for the ECAC Hockey Championship. Connor Core sat down with Olivia Conningson to talk about her reaction to getting into the NCAA tournament and ending her run as the Bobcats captain.
Thanks, guys. With me right here, we have Olivia Conningson, a 2-year captain on the women's ice hockey team. Olivia, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So like I mentioned, you're a grad student and a 2-year captain. This will most likely be your last ride as a Bobcat. So have you been able to personally prepare for these last couple of weeks heading into the NCAA tournament?
You know, in each moment, you kind of have to stop and think to yourself a bit. You're like, you know, this is my last couple of weeks of playing hockey. You know, probably ever, and with this special group and with this program. So I think, you know, it's bittersweet. We're ending, you know, the season on a great note and a run for the Frozen Four and national championship. So, you know, I think it wraps up the 5 years perfectly. And I think each game I just stop and think to myself, like, reflect kind of on the time that I've had, and you know, play like each game is your last. And, you know, this group has made it so special. So it's bittersweet. But, you know, I'm excited to see, because we have 2 more weekends of hockey coming up. So it'll be awesome.
So with just 2 wins, you guys could be heading to Penn State University for the Frozen Four. And you guys obviously haven't been there as a program. So how is your head coach, Cass Turner, what's kind of like her message to the entire program been about like what this moment means?
It's a culmination of the work that, you know, this women throughout this program have put in. leading up to this moment. So I think that's really special. You know, we've been celebrating people in the past who've helped us get to this point, which is huge. And I think throughout this season, especially, we had a special group, and from the start, we weren't afraid to talk about, you know, the road to Happy Valley and the road to Pennsylvania. So I think that's important, you know, that we've kept that in the back of our mind as our ultimate goal. So, you know, we weren't afraid to talk about it from the start. And I think that's really helped us this season to reach our ultimate goal.
Well, Olivia, we appreciate your time. That's all the time we have for you. The round one of the NCAA women's hockey tournament starts this Thursday, March 10th at Ohio State University, where the Bobcats will face the Syracuse Orange. And if they win, they would face Ohio State on Saturday. We'll send it back to the desk right now.
Thanks, Connor. The Bobcats now turn its attention to this Thursday as Quinnipiac will travel to Ohio to face off against Syracuse in round one of the NCAA tournament. The Bobcats will face the Syracuse Orange for the first time in 10 years, as the winner of the game will proceed to play top-ranked Ohio State on its home ice. Quinnipiac leads the all-time matchup history 5-3, but the Orange will look to capitalize off the momentum gained from its CHA championship win. The game will be played Thursday night at 6 and will be broadcasted on ESPN+.
The women's basketball team took on Manhattan in one of their last games before heading into the MAC tournament. Let's see how they did. Both Mackenzie Deweese and Michaela Morris finished with a solid 18 points each. Quinnipiac led in three-point percentage with 26.3%, while both teams were tied at 66. They headed into overtime, where Quinnipiac eventually lost 73-69.
After falling in overtime to the Manhattan Jaspers, the Bobcats took to Lender Court for its regular season finale against Rider. Let's see how they did. Quinnipiac plays Rider for their last game of the season. The Bronx eliminated the Bobcats from the MAC tournament last year. Let's find out what's in store for the game before this year's tournament. We'll start in the first quarter. Michaela Morris kicks it back out to Mackenzie Deweese, who fakes the three, takes the mid-range, and makes the mid-range. A few plays later, Quinnipiac in transition, Curtiera Haywood misses the three, but Deweese is there to clean up the mess and put in the layup. Not much in the second, as the Bobcats finish the half with a 17-point lead. Now to the third quarter. Rider's Amanda Mobley trying to help the Bronx get back into it with a floater that swishes into the basket. This bucket would cut the Rider deficit to under 10 for the first time since the first quarter. The Bobcats started to take back the lead. Haywood looking like Hakeem the Dream down low, putting this layup in for the and one. We'll take a look at that again. Haywood on the ground, but still getting hype. This shot would help Quinnipiac close out the quarter, up by 13. The fourth quarter got ugly for Rider, so ugly the Quinnipiac bench started to catch fire. Haley Smith fakes right and goes left for the easy layup. After that, Raven Douglas drives in and makes the short mid-range jumper. Kat Almeida scoring for the first time since February 12th with this layup that you see right here. And Tiara White may dance on the bench, but she has some moves on the court as well. And one. White showing a little swag after that finish. Quinnipiac cruises to a 71-49 final here in Hamden. The Bobcats are set to play their first game in Atlantic City this Wednesday. The Bobcats dominated against the Rider Bronx and will now turn its attention to Atlantic City. Q30 women's basketball beat reporter Kylesia Smith has more.
Well, guys, that's a wrap. The Bobcats picked up their final regular season win here at the People's United Center. Now, what's ironic about this matchup is this team ended the Bobcats season just last year at the MAC tournament, the Rider Bronx. You can call it a redemption game, an revenge game, whatever you want to call it. The Bobcats are geared up and ready for the MAC tournament next week. We're just a few days away from the MAC tournament kickoff, where almost 365 days ago, the Bobcats were sent home early in an unexpected first-round loss. Now, almost 365 days later, and after a regular season finale win against that same team, rest assured, the Bobcats are walking into this tournament with a new mindset.
It is a little fitting that we had a first and last game against them, but I also think like there's this fresh new beginning going into the MAC tournament this year, and no dwelling on last year. Last year's the past, and so we're just going to keep looking forward.
And moving forward is what they have done. After having a successful season, the Bobcats sustained the number 2 seed, surpassing the first round and straight to the quarterfinals on Wednesday. With being in the unknown of who they'll face and with the downtime in between then, Coach Fabry wants to make sure the Bobcats utilize this downtime to sit back and reflect.
Take a night to reflect on a really good regular season. 19 wins, what we're able to accomplish, and know that our work is being rewarded with a good seed going into Atlantic City just for tonight. And then tomorrow I'll be like, new mission, same goal, let's go.
The MAC basketball tournament will tip off for the Bobcats on Wednesday as they avoid to not have a repeat of last year. For Q30 Sports, I'm Kylesia Smith. See you in AC.
In just a few days, the women's basketball team will hit the court in Atlantic City for the MAC quarterfinals. Let's check out the matchups. With the Bobcats in the 2-seed spot, they'll get a few days rest before they take on the winner of the game against St. Peter's and Marist. Niagara and Siena, the number 4 and number 5 teams, will also play the quarterfinals that day, and the winner of both of those games will play in the semifinals on Friday at 11 a.m.
Earlier today, news broke that 3 Bobcats from the women's basketball team were named to all MAC conference teams. First year, Jackie Grisdale was named to the MAC All-Rookie team, junior Michaela Morris was given All-MAC second team honors, and senior Mackenzie Deweese was named the All-MAC first team for the second time in her career. Grisdale is the first walk-on in program history to be named to all conference honors, and Morris also was a 2-time MAC Player of the Week this season. When we come back, we talk all things women's basketball and men's hockey.
Stick around.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why? My. Oh.
Thanks for sticking with us. Men's basketball took on Monmouth for their second to last regular season game and came up short. Let's check the stats. It was another close game for the Bobcats, dropping the game by only 3 points. Desi Jones had a career-high game with 26 points, with Matt Belanc grabbing 17 points. Shavar Reynolds for Monmouth scored 17 points as well, with George Pappas right behind. This is Monmouth's 5th straight win against Quinnipiac.
The Bobcats were on a 5-game losing streak coming into its regular season finale against the defending MAC champions Iona. Could Quinnipiac get back in the win column? The answer to that question would be no. Rick Pitino and the Gales picked up a 79-61 victory over Baker Dunleavy's squad as the Bobcats fell to 7-13 to close out MAC conference play. Matt Belanc and Desi Jones each put up 13 points for the Bobcats in the loss. and Iona's Quinn Slazinski led the game in scoring with 16 points overall. With the regular season at a close, the Bobcats qualified for the MAC tournament in Atlantic City. Let's see the full bracket. Quinnipiac drew the 11th seed and will face Marist in the first round tomorrow night at 9 p.m., with the winner advancing to the semifinals against the Siena Saints. Top-seeded Iona remains a tournament favorite by receiving a quarterfinals bye with St. Peter's as the 2 seed and Monmouth as the 4 seed, running out the top 4.
For a further look at the bracket and some predictions for this week's MAC tournament, we'll hand it over to Q30's men's basketball beat reporters Eric Kerr and Jack Main.
Okay, just about 24 hours here until the MAC tournament. Thank you guys for having us on the show. Inside the MAC takes on bracketology. Eric Kerr alongside Jack Main. We're going to break down the men's and women's basketball brackets for the tournament. Let's start with the women's, Jack. Here we go, my picks. Iona Ryder, I have Ryder taking that one simply because they are a threat in the MAC tournament. Marist, I have the upset over them in St. Peter's there. I love Brian George as the head coach. I think he's going to really come up with something to take down that St. Peter's team. And Monmouth over Canisius. Canisius is not a good women's basketball team, so let's move right past that one. The 3-6, I have Manhattan. No surprises there. Everything is favorites through the way through here, so we're going to skip right to the semifinals. I have Niagara upsetting Fairfield. I love Niagara's defense. They run tough physical press defense throughout the game, have one of the greatest turnover margins in the MAC, so I feel like they're really going to give Lou Lopez-Senecal and company problems. 2-3, Quinnipiac comes out in that one in the rematch in the best of 3. I think they're going to shut down Dee Davis and handle them better than they did in Manhattan in that game. And the winner will be Quinnipiac. They have proven they can beat Niagara 2 times already this year, so why not a 3rd time over on that side?
I really like what you said up until we got to the semifinal section right here. I do like what you said also about Marist. Brian George is one of the best coaches this conference has to offer. He will upset St. Peter's at that 7 seed in the second round. Quinnipiac will take down Manhattan. I love this matchup right here. Manhattan, both men's and women's, has the tendency to play the most physical brand of basketball that you can ask for. And this is probably going to be the matchup of the tournament, if you ask me. I really like Siena against Fairfield. However, Fairfield proves that even if Lou Lopez-Senecal has an off game, kind of like you're thinking might happen, they've still proven that they can beat the better competition. They beat Quinnipiac twice, and one of those times Lou Lopez-Senecal was absolutely shut down by Mackenzie DeWeese. And that is exactly why I have Fairfield coming out on top against Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac has gone, with the exception of that 5-game win streak that they had midway through the MAC slate, they've only gone on a 3-game win streak twice, and one of those was not even in conference play. So Fairfield really does have a tendency to insert themselves into whatever plans Quinnipiac has. I really do see them coming out on top in the championship game. I do think it'll be like a 2-possession game though, max.
I definitely agree. You can't not predict number 1, number 2. That's definitely a good take. Okay, so Jack has Fairfield. I have Quinnipiac. Let's move on to the men's side now. And here we go. We start at the top here. I have Manhattan coming out in that matchup. As you mentioned, Manhattan is a physical team. I like them in that matchup. 7-10. I have Fairfield there as well. Canisius, not so great of a men's basketball team either. Marist and Quinnipiac, I can't give it to the Bobcats. We talked about this inside the MAC. They don't have a great defensive team, and you can't defend as well as your offense has been. I really like Marist's offense this year as well, so I'm going with Marist at number 6. 3-6, I'm going to have Marist in the upset here against Siena as well. The reason being is because Siena's offense stinks. They have the lowest points per game in the MAC, so I could see Marist taking advantage of that with their offense and their solid rebounding and come out on top in that matchup. Fairfield, St. Peter's. I have St. Peter's winning that one too. St. Peter's is a very, very good defense. I don't see why they wouldn't win that. Monmouth and Niagara, I think this is going to be a great game, a great 4-5 matchup with Marcus Hammond and George Pappas, but I like the shooting of Monmouth and the diversity of their offense a little bit better here. Iona, Manhattan, that's a no-brainer. Moving on to the semifinals, Iona and Monmouth. I'm going to have Iona, again, no-brainer. I think Iona is the better team. St. Peter's, this is where Marist's Cinderella run ends. We talked about St. Peter's defense. They have the best blocks per game in the MAC and the best points allowed per game in the MAC as well, so it's tough to beat there. But Iona just has a simply more complete team on both ends, so it's very tough to pick Iona not winning this tournament. Rick Pitino so dominant in March. They have a great team throughout. Iona's got to be my champion here.
Well, parity definitely the theme of this segment. As you take a look at what I have, it's pretty much the same thing. Do you notice something though, Eric?
You have Quinnipiac winning.
Quinnipiac's going to win a MAC game this year, boys and girls. I really do think that this could happen. The last time that Quinnipiac played their best basketball against Marist. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that again if they're able to get everybody in the right mindset. And that is a humongous if. As far as the rest of it goes, Manhattan, probably my favorite, like if I had to put any money down on a Cinderella team, I would pick Manhattan, but for the sake of being logical, we will go with Iona against Manhattan. That's a no-brainer, as Eric mentioned. This is going to be another must-watch matchup between our two Player of the Year candidates, George Pappas and Nelly Jr. Joseph. St. Peter's and Siena, that's going to kind of be a matchup that's going to fall under the wayside because this is going to be such a great contest. And then Iona will take down St. Peter's, a battle of the 1 in the 2 in the MAC championship, which isn't that what it's supposed to be. Rick Pitino, best coach this conference has to offer. He's a Hall of Famer. There's a reason why he has rebuilt this team basically in 1 year, and they're back to being MAC champions. They will repeat as MAC champions in 2021-2022. We're going to send it back to the desks. We will see you from our content in Atlantic City.
The men's basketball team also received several All-MAC conference nods earlier today. Graduate forward Kevin Marfo and redshirt junior guard Matt Belanc were named to the All-MAC third team. Marfo returned to the Bobcats after 1 season at Texas A&M as he recorded a conference-leading 11 double-doubles throughout this season. Belanc emerged as an offensive threat in the MAC by scoring 42.7% from the field and 34.2% beyond the arc.
Along with sealing the #1 seed in the ECAC, a few Bobcats and coaches have been nominated for some end-of-the-season awards. Zach Metza was nominated for Best Defensive Defenseman as a finalist and Student of the Year nominee. Metza has scored 9 goals for the year and tallying 24 blocks. Ethan DeYoung was named for the Defensive Forward of the Year finalist, while DeYoung has racked up 10 goals and 27 points for the year. Wyatt Bongiovanni, 2022 Senior Class Award finalist, the captain has scored 14 goals and 31 points for the year. And we can't forget about Yanni Peretz for Goaltender of the Year as a finalist. Peretz has racked up the records this year, holding a .82 goals against average, a .956 save percentage, and tallying 9 shutouts for just this year. And to top it all off, the man behind the bench, Rand Pecknold, has been nominated for Coach of the Year. Let's take a look at the men's hockey brackets as they head into the quarterfinals of the ECAC Hockey Championships. The Bobcats had 2 weeks off to prepare as they head into the quarterfinals this weekend against number 8 St. Lawrence to fight for a spot in the semifinals in Lake Placid. Number 2 Clarkson will take on number 7 Union, and the winners of these 2 matchups will play each other in the semifinal round in Lake Placid on March 18th. When we come back, spring sports are in full swing with women's lacrosse and baseball.
We'll be right back.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spotlight on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Thanks for staying with us here on Sports Paws. Now, for women's lacrosse, they took on Yale on Tuesday, so let's see how they did. Quinnipiac's Emily Feeney was the star of the show for the Bobcats, grabbing 3 goals for the team and leading the Bobcats in points. But the shining star of the game had to be Olivia Marquardt, who scored 7 goals for Yale and led the points for the day. Marquardt's 7th goal was the game-winning goal for Yale, and in net, Kat Hensler made 17 saves for the Bobcats as they dropped their first game of the year.
Coming off a close loss to Yale, the Bobcats held its home opener by facing the Boston University Terriers for the first time in nearly 20 years. Let's see the highlights. It's the first home game in Hamden for the Bobcats as they welcome in the BU Bulldogs for the 4th out-of-conference matchup. This is the first time these two teams have taken the field against one another since 2003 when the Bobcats lost 17-1. Will this game have a different result? Let's get into the action and find out. Now we're taking you to the first half. The Bobcats are given a free position shot and Maddie Noel shoots low and lucky as the ball rolls slowly through the legs of Riley Agers. This puts the Bobcats in a temporary 1-0 lead. Shortly after, Kendall Sims was set up on the right hash as she puts the ball in the back of the net. The first half was back and forth, ending in a 7-6 lead for the Bobcats. Now on to the second half. Momentum shifts went back and forth until BU fed the ball to Kaylin Isaacson, who hits the top left corner with ease. The goal ties the game at 12 apiece. The Bobcats answer back with Ella Grace taking a hop, rolling, and firing a shot to the back of the net. This puts the Bobcats in the lead with under a minute left in the game. The ball is fed to Lauren Kay on the top right side, and she rips a shot through a sea of players and scores. She begins to celebrate for tying up the game, but the refs blow a whistle, calling a dangerous shot and a no goal. And with that, the Bobcats secure the win over the Bulldogs, running to their goalie to celebrate their first home win of the season. The women's lacrosse team is off to its best start since head coach Tanya Kotowicz joined the university back in 2016. Q30 lacrosse beat reporter Ben Kane has more.
2003. At that point, I was just 1, which is the same amount of goals that QU got the last time they played against BU. They lost by a scoreline of 17-1 on that day. However, fast forward 19 years, and they're coming out victorious on Saturday by a scoreline of 13-12. This is a young and developing program that is aiming towards a MAC championship.
Honestly, we all want the same thing, and this is the first time Tika has had a full team that's been recruited by her, so we are full force and we know what we want at the end of the season, which is a MAC championship, and I know we're more than capable of doing that.
The Bobcats' 3-1 start to the season is the best record that head coach Kotowicz has had since she has taken over at Quinnipiac. The 6th-year head coach believes this team has what it takes to make a run at the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, steady improvement. Change takes time and takes the right people, and we really do have the right people in the program now, and we've been successful so far. We just say one game at a time, so as long as our Bobcat lacrosse keeps getting better every game, then we're in the right place and things will, happen from there.
The Bobcats will now have just 3 more games to get prepped and ready before their MAC conference play begins. From Q30 Sports, I'm Ben Kane.
Well, it's that time of the night. It's time for the top 5 plays of the week. So I'll take the odds, you take the evens, Emily?
Sounds good to me, Kaylin. Let's get going.
Perfect, let's get it rolling. So for play number 5, let's go to the ice. It's Sadie Peart. She'll be getting tactical here in just a moment. She skates down the ice and into the net. Through the 5-hole there for the Bobcats.
On to number 4, to the hardwood. We have Haley Smith controlling the rock. She dribbles out to the perimeter, and then she heads right back inside for the easy deuce. Clean finish from Smith.
Play number 3, let's go to women's lacrosse. It's Ella Grace who's going to dance around at the top of the key before putting the shot right into the back of the net. The Bobcats celebration there.
On to number 2, Anne Frederick Nod, nifty toe drag, and the puck is left right on the doorstep for Olivia Mobley to bury the rebound.
And the number 1 play of the week coming up right here. Get excited, it's Kutiera Haywood receiving the post pass and making light work of a defender with the cleanup and the and-one finish. It's as smooth as it gets there with the low block and impressive work by Haywood.
That was an action-packed top 5, but we also have an action-packed week in Quinnipiac sports to look forward to. Winter sports are in full postseason swing as the men will face Marist in round 1 of the MAC tournament, and women's basketball will face either St. Peter's or Marist in the MAC quarterfinals. Women's ice hockey begins play in the NCAA tournament against Syracuse, and women's lacrosse will face UMass Lowell on Saturday at noon. Well, that's all we have for today.
Make sure to visit our website at q30tv.com and follow us at Q30 Sports on Twitter to keep up with all of the latest news.
And be sure to download the Q30 app, which is now available in the App Store and on Google Play.
For Emily Sweeney, I'm Kaylin Terry. Thanks for watching and have a great night.